different platforms every day, and we're talking about manifestation. Okay, so this is a manifestation life coaching attitude subconscious kind of study kind of thing. Um, Actually, manifestation is your subconscious. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, you guys. Good morning, Alan. Truly blessed. Good morning. So manifestation is your subconscious. Now, for those of you that believe in God or a higher power or the universe or infinite intelligence, we're going to add superconscious. So we're going to say conscious mind, subconscious mind, superconscious mind, or the God mind. Okay, so we're gonna leave that in there for that. Those of you that do not believe in God, okay, and that's perfectly cool. We don't mind. We don't care. I'm not here to tell you what to believe or how to believe. So anyway, but for you people, we're just gonna have two. We're just gonna have conscious, subconscious. That's it. Okay, because there's no higher power for you. But so just ignore the superconscious part of it. Okay. But the 5 principles for quick manifestation. Now, if you want to manifest something like really fast, 5 principles: generosity, kindness, compassion, love, and gratitude. Okay, all day long. All day long. Which one is the most important out of the 5? Love. Good morning, Garrett. So, love is the most important out of the 5, okay, because it's the highest vibration. Now, what about generosity? What about kindness, compassion, gratitude? Of course, gratitude is the great multiplier. Rhonda Byrne calls it the great multiplier. Okay, and it is. Okay, because the more you're grateful for something, okay, when you don't take something for granted, when you're taking something for granted, okay, that means you're not being grateful. That means you don't accumulate more of it, or you don't garner more, or you don't get more. Why? Because gratitude works like that. Okay, I'm not exactly sure precisely how it works. I just know it does, and I've been doing it since 2007. And what I'm talking about is a gratitude practice. Okay, so develop a gratitude practice. So my favorite gratitude practice is when I'm driving in the car, I turn the volume off. I mentioned this yesterday. I turn the volume off and I just look at things and say thank you. I say thank you for the trees, thank you for the mountains, thank you for the cars, thank you for the people, thank you for the dogs, thank you for the parks, stuff like that. Okay? And I say it in my head, and sometimes I speak it out loud in the car if I'm by myself. Okay, but I turn the radio off and do it. So anyway, that's a good gratitude practice. Now everybody has their own. Okay, people wake up in the morning, they do gratitude affirmations. Okay, so I am grateful for whatever. I'm grateful for that kind of thing. Okay, but generosity, kindness, compassion, love, and gratitude are the fastest ways to multiply anything or to manifest anything. Okay, or to, let's say, resolve anything. Okay, to resolve something. Let's say you have a fight with somebody, okay, or you're arguing with your other half, kind of thing. Okay, generosity, kindness, compassion, love, and gratitude. Okay, you have to express these things. You have to express these elements. Okay, you have to express gratitude. You have to express generosity. Now, generosity does not have to be material. Okay, I want to stress that. Okay, generosity can be your time. So when you're giving of your time to someone, you're giving your life to someone. I give a lot of my life for my work, like a lot. And it's always been our company policy. But you know what's happened? Like we've always gotten more. So eventually, after doing this for a few years at our companies, I made a deal with God, and I said I'll keep doing my very best, like give it 200%, and I'll keep giving time, and you give me what I want. Okay, so you can make a deal with God like you make a deal with the devil. You always hear that, right? Oh, he signed his life away to the devil. You can sign your life away to God. Okay, I'm here to tell you that. So either one. Okay, but yeah. Try God, because to me that's always worked for me. But anyway, generosity, kindness. When you donate your time to people, you're also being kind. Okay, kindness can be a kind word. Kindness can be helping somebody off across the street, like an older person, elderly person, that kind of stuff. Okay. Compassion, putting yourself in the other person's shoes, that really goes a long way. Okay. And of course, love, the highest vibration. So when you come from love, you come from a good place. When you come from love, and I do this because we associate the heart with love all the time. Okay. But when we come from love, okay, things are more quickly resolved. Okay. Things are less misunderstood. Okay. Now, you'd be surprised how many people just don't understand someone coming from love. A lot of people don't understand that. Sometimes when you come from love, you throw people off. They're like, what? And then they have to think about it. And then when they realize that you're coming from love, they're like, oh, okay, he means it in a good way, she means it in a good way, kind of thing. Okay. So remember these 5 principles. It's very, very important, because when you're manifesting something, you need to be in the right frame of mind. Okay. And that's what these principles do. Generosity, kindness, compassion, love, and gratitude will keep you in a positive mindset. Okay. It'll keep you positive. I know we overuse that word, right? Oh, you got to be positive, but really, if you come from these 5 principles, you can solve just about any problem. Okay, you can work out any difficulty you have in your relationships. You can solve any problems at work. I mean, it works for anything and everything, Okay, so because you don't want to come from the opposite. What's the opposite? Well, the emotional frequencies, right? So love is the highest, fear is the lowest. Now, what's the opposite? Well, the opposite of generosity is a lack mindset. Okay? And all the negative emotions are rooted in fear. And fear is having faith in evil. I hate to put it so strong like that, but yeah. Faith is having fear. Fear is having faith in evil or negativity. You could say it that way, but it's evil. Fear is evil. Fear is the devil. Okay, love is the highest vibration. Fear is the lowest. So over here good, over here bad, like that. So the emotional frequencies. Now, if you put a 50 percentile here, and this is positive and this is negative. This is love, peace, gratitude, joy, passion, excitement, enthusiasm, hope, and satisfaction right here. So the first good vibration or the first good emotion is being satisfied. Satisfaction. Now, what's one step below satisfaction? Worry. When you start worrying, you begin to fear. Worrying is like praying for something bad to happen. It's like begging for something bad to happen. It's expecting something bad to happen. What happens when you expect something bad? It usually happens. Okay, so going down: worry, irritation, disappointment, criticism, anger, hate, boredom, envy, despair, grief, guilt, shame, and fear at the very bottom. Okay, so the worst situation you can be in is fear. Okay, some people are in relationships that are fearful, right? And they're afraid to get out. So they become paralyzed. Okay, fear paralyzes you. Why? Because it makes it difficult for you to move. It makes it difficult for you to make a decision. It just makes it difficult. Indecision, that's another one. I suffer from that too sometimes, indecision. Should I do this or should I do that? And if you're afraid to do the one thing and then you're afraid to do the other thing because you don't know what kind of consequences are going to happen, right? Then you're stuck in the middle and you are stuck in fear because you're actually afraid to do one or the other. Okay, so fear can paralyze you. Okay, so, when you start worrying, okay, so here's what you do, right? Your conscious mind thinks all the thoughts. When you get a worrisome thought, like you're starting to worry, say stop and focus on something else. Okay, say stop and focus on an image. So images are the best because it'll take you there right away. So if you have, like, your dog on your phone or something on your lock screen, just say stop and pick up your phone and look at your dog. Okay, distract yourself out of it. We have so many distractions now, right? So people are getting distracted all day long, right? Distracted. Okay, so use it for your advantage. Distract yourself into good stuff. Distract yourself into manifesting good things or constructive things or things that will work for you instead of against you. Okay, because if you're being distracted, whatever's distracting you, something is taking your life. Something is stealing your life. Okay, I've worked with a lot of kids that, their parents, actually it was their grandparents. Couple of parents and a couple of grandparents, they're like really worried because wow, my teenager, all he does is screen time. That's all he does. And what's really going on? What's really going on is, yeah, he's being entertained. He's getting the dopamine hits. He's scrolling, right? But he's burning his time. And your time is your life. And you only have so much time, and we don't know. We don't know how much time we have, right? So your time is your life. If you're being distracted into something, okay, if you're becoming addicted to, those Candy Crush games or whatever, all those kinds of games, that kind of stuff, it's stealing your time. Okay, now I'm not saying that games are bad, okay? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying games are bad or you shouldn't play games. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is when it begins to become a problem, okay, like when you're addicted, and those games are made to be addictive. Okay, they're made for that purpose. There's a lot of psychology that goes into the making of those games. Okay. But if something is stealing your time, that's when you get a loss in productivity. That's when you don't do the laundry. That's when the kitchen is messy, right? Because it pulls you away. And instead of spending your time on productive things, right? You're playing games. You're being pulled over here. Okay, or you're being pulled over here, whatever applies. But your time is your life. Okay? And you don't know how much time you have. When somebody loses their life, right? We always hear somebody say, wow, if we just had one more day with uncle, if we just had one more day with my sister, if we just had one more day with my brother, that kind of thing, right? Because we don't know. The truth is we don't know. Okay? So every moment is a blessing. Every moment is a blessing. Right now, in the moment, right here, this is a blessing. Okay? So remember, you live in the kingdom. Okay? The kingdom is in here. Jesus Christ told us the kingdom is in here. You live in the kingdom. The only problem is your eyes look away from the kingdom. Okay? Your eyes look out there, away from the kingdom. The kingdom is in here. So we get distracted. When you get distracted, you get pulled into another reality. You ever been scrolling and you've been entertained and then you kind of break that focus and you go, whoa, like you kind of snap back like that? Because you get pulled into a different reality. This is why vision boards are powerful. Okay, vision boards. Now, we have, I don't have one of my vision boards. I'm going to teach you guys, one day we'll do vision boards, okay? But this is one of my company's vision boards, like this, okay? And this just represents my company. That's my company logo. But vision boards are powerful. So when I use that vision board, I really focus on the companies. I really focus on work. Okay, now you can put anything that's a goal on your vision board. Okay, so let's say you want a pair of shoes. Okay, put a pair of shoes on your vision board, or the specific pair of shoes that you want. Put it on your vision board. What will happen? Well, it'll go into your subconscious. What does the subconscious do about it? Well, it starts confirming those shoes and starts planning avenues for you to get to those shoes. And it starts giving you ideas on what you can do to obtain those shoes. Okay, like maybe I should save some money. Maybe I should get a part-time job. Maybe whatever it is, right? Okay, that's the job of the subconscious. Now the superconscious, okay, or let's say God, okay, the superconscious. So there's the conscious, the subconscious, and superconscious. The superconscious will pave the way. The superconscious will lead the subconscious. It works with the subconscious. And that's when you take the steps towards something and the doors begin to open. The right people come into play. Okay? Because universal law, right? Everything is connected. Okay? So everything is intelligent and everything is connected because everything is energy. Okay, so when so is it a coincidence when you want to work at XYZ company? I always give this example, right? You want to work at XYZ company, you're at the gym, and then you meet this guy, and like he's the HR guy, and then for XYZ company, and they go, oh, I was just thinking of working over there. He goes, yeah, come apply, we have openings. And then pretty soon, in 2 weeks, you're working for XYZ company. Coincidence or superconscious? Okay. So if we're all tied in, right? How are we tied in? Energy. You're not your body, you're not your name. You're that energy that lives in here. And that's what we all have in common. Energy. And that's why God lives in here. Okay, so the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious all live in here. If you don't believe in God, then it's just the conscious and subconscious. Okay, but the majority of your life is subconscious. 95% of what you do is subconscious. Because you don't need to learn how to drive the car every day. You don't need to learn how to brush your teeth every day, right? Those things. Okay, so habits become very quickly memorized. And all you need to do is repeat something a few times to become a habit. Okay, and I have to say that, creating good habits are just as easy as bad habits. We just think of them as work. That's all. We go, oh, wow, that must be a lot of work to develop good habits. No, not really. Not really. So when you want to put something firmly in your subconscious, what do? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. If you use all 4 pillars directed at one thing, it cannot not happen. It has to happen. Okay. Now, sometimes it happens and we don't see it. Sometimes it happens and we don't recognize it. Why? Because sometimes it comes to us in another way. Okay. You ever been hoping for, I don't know, $50 or something? And then pretty soon you get a tax rebate and you go, oh yeah, but that was my taxes. Really? See, so there's all kinds of ways that you can get things. Okay. And it's not always about money. Because like I always say, if you think that money's the only way you can get things, then you're suffering from limited thinking. Okay. I've done tons of stuff without money. Tons. So the thing that we need to keep mindful of is when we ask for something, okay, ask, believe, receive. Where do we ask? In the kingdom, in here. It's not about going door to door asking. It's not about that. It's about asking inside. It's about going in here and being still and asking questions. The seek and ye shall find is in here. Okay? It's in this one. So you seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall open. You go around the neighborhood knocking on doors? No, of course not. You knock in here. Okay, so everything happens in here. There is no out there. The only thing out there is nature and things from other people's in here. That's all. That's it. So everything happens in here. Manifestation happens in here. And manifestation reacts to you. So you don't manifest the things you want necessarily. Okay? I gotta qualify that. But you don't manifest the things you want. You manifest who you are. And when I say you manifest who you are, I mean you manifest who you believe yourself to be. So you gotta believe in this one. That's why you have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself and you're trying to manifest something, it's not going to happen. Or you will only manifest as good as you think of yourself. I mean, that will be the limit. Okay. So having good self-esteem, having good self-confidence is important. Why? Because then you can attract the things that are for you. Okay, let's say you're only a little confident. Maybe you're only going to attract a little. Or maybe certain things because you're only a little confident. Okay, God will never give you more than you can handle. What if you're really super confident? Yeah, then maybe you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff because you can handle it. See? So confidence is very important. Now, confidence, another synonym for confidence, is relaxation. To be relaxed in here. Because when you are relaxed in here, you increase your awareness. Okay, so awareness, right, expands when you're relaxed. Okay, so I give this visual of awareness. So awareness looks like this when you're stressed. Awareness looks like this when you have too much pressure on you. Okay, like that. Now when you take the pressure off, your awareness starts expanding. Why? Because now there's no pressure. Okay. Now there's no stress or very little stress, and your awareness starts to expand again. Then when you get under stress and when you get under pressure, so your awareness goes like this. Why does that happen? Because at that time, you're focused on what's stressing you. At that time, you're focused on what's going wrong or what's irritating or what's bothering you. When those things go away, automatic awareness starts to open like that. Okay? So it's very important that you understand that you are awareness under everything. Okay? And this is why when you start identifying with things, suffering begins. Gautama Buddha taught us that. Okay, so when you say, I am angry, or I am that, whatever, right? Now you're identifying with something exterior, something on the outside. Are you identifying with your title? Are you identifying with your job? Are you identifying, right? So when we identify with things on the exterior, on the outside, we're not identifying with who we really are. It's like assigning ourselves to something when you identify with something. Instead, okay, just be awareness, because awareness is not anger. Awareness is not drama. So when you say I am angry, right? Now you're assigning your awareness to a label, to an emotion, to anger. Okay, awareness means that you can observe the anger, you can observe the emotion, and allow it to pass because you are aware of it. Okay, and what brings the emotion? The thought. So the thought comes first, then the emotion follows. Now when the thought comes, you don't have to engage with the thought. You can allow the thought to pass. Okay, so the thought comes and you go, no, not gonna touch it. Because why? Because if you engage with the thought, now the emotion comes. Okay, so the emotion, if it's a bad thought, a bad emotion will follow. And then you will feel that emotion. Because you've identified with the thought, now you're going to have to deal with the circumstances, with the emotion of the thought. So if the thought is angry, you're going to have to deal with the anger when it comes, because first you think the thought, then the emotion comes. Okay. So if you're, you know, if let's say it's guilt. So you have that thought that makes you feel guilty, right? Now you feel guilty, okay? So now you're feeling that emotion. But if you don't engage with the thought, guess what? Because you observe the thought, right? You're aware of the thought. You can allow the thought to pass, and then the emotion will pass with it, because you won't engage in the thought. And now you have not engaged in the thought, and you have not engaged in the emotion, and now it hasn't affected you because you are just aware. You are awareness, and you just allow it to pass. So after a while, okay, when you get used to this process, you can pick and choose what you want to attach to and what you want to let go of. It's not very hard at all. Okay, and the fastest way to do it: affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Now, you may not want to write every day. Okay, I am so happy and grateful now that, right, whatever the goal is, you may not want to do that every day. Okay. Well, the question becomes, how bad do you want it? Because if you do affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization aimed at one thing, or at one problem, or at one thing that you want to manifest, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You're a human being. God lives in here. Okay, it will happen. That's how I did my companies. That's how I do everything. That's how I do things I want. I don't take anything for granted. I take pictures of what I want. I put it on my phone. I write my affirmations. I do my meditation. This morning I did 3 hours of meditation, 3 hours of sitting still. That's not a flex. I'm just saying it's possible. Okay, there's people that meditate all day long. Monks, they meditate all day long. Okay, but amazing things happen when you do this. Okay, the gates of heaven begin to open. Where's heaven? In here. Where's the prison? In here. So this can be heaven, this can be hell. Okay. It depends on your mindset. And when you construct your mindset, okay, and I use the word construct for a reason. You have to construct it. You have to build it. You have to be the architect of it. You have to design it. Let me show you what design it looks like. This is what design looks like. Okay, so these are affirmations. Okay, they're not journaling. Okay, but when I want my subconscious to do something, when I want my subconscious to think something, or to bring me something, I do this. And it works all day long. Okay, now that looks kind of crazy to some people, right? Because they wouldn't do it. You know, well, I don't have time for that. I'm too busy doing this, right? Well, if you're too busy, guess what? You're not going to get over it. If you're too busy for it, if you're too busy to sit still for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you don't have to do 3 hours like I did this morning. Okay, I did it because I'm good at it. I do it because I like to do it. And I do it because I know the benefits of it. Okay, so some of the benefits are, when you seek, ye shall find. When you ask, it will be given. But let me give you a little caveat on that, okay? If you just go inside and ask, or you go inside and pray, okay? Or you go inside and create an intention, if you haven't been conditioning your subconscious, okay, your subconscious is like a muscle. It works like everything else in your life. It starts small and it grows. And you have to grow this. So it takes 66 days to manifest something. Let me say it another way. It takes 66 days to attain your goal, whatever it is. So if you just write one affirmation or two affirmations, or you do it for a couple of weeks and you don't get what you want, or you don't make any progress, or whatever, right? There's a reason. So when I do my intake with clients, depending on what the situation is, most of them, I have them do 100 positive I ams, because you need to get the subconscious conditioned. The vocalization process is probably the most important, because it's projecting frequency. Energy, frequency, vibration, and velocity will clear up the brain very quickly. In like 3 to 4 sessions, people start feeling relaxed already. And like I said, relaxation, confidence, same thing. Because when it's too busy up here, right? When you're too busy here, you can't possibly be confident. Why? Because you're distracted into the things that you're busy with. That's not confidence. Confidence is when you can be clear here. Okay, clarity. That's confidence. When you can be clear here, okay, that's when things are easy. That's when things come easy. That's when decisions are easy. Decisions become easy to make. Okay, it's not such a hard thing anymore. Why? Because you don't have a whole bunch of clutter going on up here. People get into serious problems with overthinking. Okay, overthinking becomes a habit. What creates the habit? The subconscious. Okay, so you start thinking, right? You start thinking of like 2 or 3 or 4 things, back and forth. Pretty soon the subconscious goes, oh, I get it, we're overthinking. And the subconscious will give you more of it. The subconscious learns in repetition. Okay, so once you do it for a while, right, you get in the habit of it. Now your subconscious listens to you as well. It's the silent listener. Your subconscious will listen to you, not just your words, your thoughts. Okay, I always tell you guys, like, be careful of what you say to people, because your subconscious is listening. So, if you're cursing at somebody or whatever, you're, being mean to somebody verbally, and then pretty soon you wonder why you have low self-esteem. You wonder why you feel bad. You wonder why you don't think very well of this one. Okay. It's because your subconscious has retreated. Your subconscious is absorbing what you're doing, what you're thinking. And if it's negative, guess what? You're going to have a negative complex. It's a simple way of explaining it, but it's the easiest way I can convey the message. If you get in the habit of thinking negative things or bad things, okay, bad thoughts. Let's say you're always thinking of violence, or you're always thinking of destructive things, or you're always thinking of negative things, or you're not trusting anybody. That's a subconscious habit. Your subconscious has learned not to trust people. So what happens? It doesn't trust anybody. Okay, so after somebody betrays you, or somebody, whatever, right? That kind of thing. And then maybe it happens again. And now, to guard against it, right, you start worrying about it. Okay, worrying is like praying for something bad to happen. So what happens now? Well, you're worrying, and all those thoughts, all those worrisome thoughts go in your subconscious, and your subconscious memorizes. It memorizes it, and it feeds it back to you. And now you have a habit of worrying. You ever see those people that worry about every little thing? I had a great uncle like that. I had a great uncle who would just worry about everything. That's the majority of things that he would express, was he was worried about this, that, like he would worry about everything. And he thought that people would see him in a good light because he was concerned about things, because he was concerned about people. But no, he was worrying. And that was a bad thing. And his brother, my grandfather, used to grumble about everything. My grandfather was a grumbler, and my great uncle was a worrier. And you put the two of them together, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. Because my grandfather would grumble about everything. But it wasn't my grandfather per se. It wasn't how he was born. His subconscious picked it up. Okay? And then he was just playing out the program, the same program in the subconscious. Okay, back in the day, we didn't talk about subconscious. We didn't talk about stuff like that. Nobody went to therapy. Nobody. I mean, it was in the old days, right? It was a different time, a different day. We have evolved as human beings. So if you train your subconscious, let's say you worry a lot, okay? What's the opposite of worry? Confidence, right? If you're not worried, you're confident, right? Okay, write it. I am so happy and grateful now that I am confident. Thank you. There you go. Boom. Okay, what's the opposite of fear? Love. I am so happy and grateful now that I am a loving person. Thank you. There you go. That will take fear away. But you have to write it. You have to speak it. If you can write it and meditate on it, speak it and visualize it, you can live it. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. It works with all my clients. I work with professionals. I call them high power professionals only because they have a lot of responsibility. Okay, I work with supervisors, CEOs, managers, people like that, attorneys, doctors, those kinds of people. And they have high pressure jobs. Okay, I do this for free every day, 7 o'clock in the morning, every day. This is my community service. But the professionals hire me. And the thing about it is, right, they hire me to expand their awareness. They don't come in asking for it. It happens because I point it out to them. Okay, remember awareness? So the visual that I give is like this. Okay, under high stress situations, under, let's say, stressful, let's say high pressure, let's say busy, all of that. It makes your awareness do this. Clams up, like a clamshell, it clams up. Now, when you take off the pressure and you take off the stress, you take away the stress. This is why companies have retreats, to decompress their people. Okay? Awareness starts to grow again like this. It starts to expand. When you have too much pressure, when you have too much stress, awareness starts to contract. Why does it contract? Because you're too occupied with the exterior stuff, with the stress, with the pressure, with the responsibilities, with the calendar, with the clock, all of those things. Okay, so that's what happens. That's why awareness goes like this. So the first thing I do is a vocalization exercises, and I bring them down. And when I say down, I mean just in anti-anxiety terms, bring them down. So get rid of the anxiety, get rid of the pressure, get rid of the stress. And the voice does this if you do it right, with velocity, with air pressure, okay, or strong tones. So if you're in your car after work and you're all stressed, sing, but sing loud as you can. Okay, in about 10 minutes you'll feel good. Okay, my process is about 20 minutes, but yeah, you can do it in 10. You'll feel better. Because when you do that, the brain releases, your neurotransmitters release oxytocin, endorphins. It increases GABA levels. It lowers cortisol levels, the fight or flight syndrome. It lowers that. Okay, all of these things start happening in the brain. So the first thing I do is the vocalization exercises with them. And as soon as I do that, and in like about a month and a half, right? Their anxiety levels are almost zero. And what happens? Their awareness goes like this. You know, one of my attorneys told me, she goes, I wish I would have met you in my 20s. And I told her, well, yeah, I probably didn't know. She was in her 40s, but I said I probably didn't know what I know today when you were in your 20s. But everything for a reason, everything in its proper time. So, affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. If you use those 4 pillars and you aim it at one thing, it has to happen. I don't care if it's a new house, new car, it has to happen. Because the visualization is rewiring your neural pathways. Okay, and now it's telling you, right, when you're looking at pictures of houses, your brain, your mind, your subconscious is actually more welcoming. Now you start to open it up. Okay, when you write affirmations, I am so happy, where's my pen? I am so happy and grateful now that I have a brand new house, or now that I'm living in a different house or a new house, whatever you want. And you write it and say thank you. Now you're conditioning your subconscious to verify that. And it will lead you to whatever it takes to do it, whether it's save money for a down payment, whether it's get an extra job to save money for a down payment, whatever the pathway is, your subconscious will figure it out. Your life path goes like this. It unfolds from within. It goes like this. Okay, life doesn't happen like this. The things that you believe, who you believe you are, okay? And with most people, like everything else, right? Like I tell you with the, with affirmations and all that, it starts small and grows, okay? So today, maybe you don't think you're much. But over time, small incremental changes over time amount to huge change. James Clear has a book called Atomic Habits. Check it out. Okay, that's what his book is about. Small incremental changes daily over time equals a different person. That's a good book to read. So you may not be that person that you are, that you want to be right now. You might not be that person right now. But you can build into that person, okay? You can start like this and you can build like that over time. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about starting over here where you don't think you're much, okay? And building your self-confidence and building your self-confidence, and then one day being like this, and this would suggest super confident, really confident, like go after your dreams kind of confidence. Because everything grows, everything evolves. Human beings evolve. We're supposed to evolve. If you're not evolving, something's wrong. If you're not getting better at whatever it is, overall in life, basically, something's wrong. Human beings are meant to evolve. Our society evolves. Look at our technology, right? Now we have all of these AI, we have all this stuff now. When I was growing up, we didn't even have cell phones. We had to go to payphones. See, so we evolve as human beings. We're supposed to get better as a species. We're supposed to get better as individuals. We're supposed to get better as families. Okay, all of these things are supposed to happen. But again, start small, okay? Make a few minor changes today. Maybe if you snack a lot and you have a weight problem, maybe it's one less snack today. That's an improvement. See, that's an improvement. You start small like that. Maybe next week you leave out 2 snacks, and maybe the following week you leave out 3 snacks, and guess what? That may equal 5 pounds. You see that kind of thinking? Human beings don't need handouts. Human beings need inspiration. You need to see somebody doing something and go, wow, I can do that. I can do that too. And that's what inspiration is. Nothing motivates like inspiration. If somebody can inspire you to do something, that's all you need. If somebody can teach you to do something, that's all you need. You know, when I was young, I just wanted people to show me how, but everybody was busy. There's two kinds of people, right? There's the people that are too busy, who are actually honestly too busy, and then there's the other people that don't want to show anybody anything. Okay? So to me, there's like two people, right? One of them climbs the ladder to success. And when he gets to be successful, he kicks the ladder out from under him and takes the secrets to the grave. Okay, that's one kind of guy. Or girl, person, doesn't matter. Okay, the second kind of person gets to where they want to get in life. They get successful. They learn the secrets. They know the ins and outs of whatever they do, right? And they turn around and they reach down the ladder and they say, come on, you guys. I know the way. I'll help you. Come on. And they pull them up the ladder. And to me, those are the only kinds of people that are worth anything. But that's just my opinion, okay? Don't yeah, it's just my opinion. But I'm saying, right? Like, more of us need to help others get up the ladder. That's what it's about. And that's why I'm here for free for 1 hour in the morning. Okay, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm doing my community service. We've been doing this since April. It's August already. Every morning, 7 o'clock Hawaii time. You know why? Because our humanity needs it. We need to share information. So if you're, let's say, I have a lot of people on both of my accounts that are retired. I don't want to say like which accounts because the algorithms might limit me. But on a couple of my big accounts, I have a few big social media accounts. We have a lot of retired people. And these ladies that retired, these retired ladies, were doing cooking shows. They were like showing people how, right? They were showing how they do things, how they cook. And it was like they had their own cooking show. And it was really cool. And they just put their cell phone in a stand, right? And then you just watch them cook. And pretty soon it got so popular that they had to make cookbooks. And then they were selling their cookbooks. Like, it was really cool. Okay, so don't be afraid to share your knowledge. Okay, the future for social media is people helping people out. That's the future. Sharing what you know with the new generation. Okay, passing it on, paying it forward, however you want to say it. But that's going to be very, very important. That's going to be the future. Why? Because AI will do everything else. And when AI does the majority of everything, what are you going to do? How are you going to be valuable to society? You see, you may not think that what you know is anything, but it is. It is. You're a human being. You're God's highest creation. Okay? God lives in here. Whatever experience you have, whatever talents you have, whatever gifts you have can be shared with others. It doesn't matter how small. Any contribution is a contribution. Okay? Now remember the 5 principles: generosity, kindness, compassion, love, and gratitude. If you do it with those 5 things, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. And you will become valuable. Why? Because generosity is valuable. Kindness is valuable. Compassion, love, gratitude, they're valuable assets. They're valuable attributes. You need to become the change you want to see in the world. That's the one thing that I started doing a long, long time ago. You know, I started becoming the change I want to see. I wasn't always happy with what I was able to do. But it grew. It grew like this. It went like this. It went like this. It went like that. But you have to work on it. That's the only thing. Okay. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. But when you work on it, when you put in the work, amazing things happen. Amazing things. Good morning, Afrocentric. Hi, Cooper. How's it going? Thank you. Thank you for sharing the live. Oh, thank you for liking the live. Yeah, share the live, you guys. Go ahead. And thank you in advance. But yeah, so, the future is going to be about human interaction. It's going to be about humans helping other humans. It's going to be about humanity. AI will do all the heavy lifting. And when AI does all the heavy lifting, what's left? Us, humans. Okay? And we have our own blessings. We have our own gifts. And all of those things we can offer others. And that's the good news. Okay, so remember, generosity. Give of your time. If you don't have money, give time. There's a lot of people in Hawaii that I see that I'm really, really proud of. Like I'm really happy about it when I see it. Like they go and clean the beaches. So they'll have a beach cleanup day, and 100 people will come down to the beach and clean it up in no time. But these things are important. So whether you live on the beach or in the mountains or wherever you live, beautification is a noble thing. Beautifying your community, taking care of your community. Community is very, very important because we all got to live here. We all got to live together. Okay, so community is very important. And that's why I really like when I see people cleaning beaches and stuff like that. I live in Hawaii. But it doesn't matter where you live. Community is important. Take care of your community. Take care of each other. That's really, really important. So when you go back to the 5 principles, generosity, kindness, compassion, love, and gratitude, you start manifesting. Why? Because what goes around comes around. How does that work? That's karma, isn't it? Yeah, it's karma. But you know where it happens? It happens in your subconscious. The things you think, the things you say, and the actions you do are all registered in your subconscious. Okay, so what goes around comes around. You think bad thoughts, bad things happen. You think good thoughts, good things happen. You're kind to somebody, you're generous to somebody, you're compassionate with people, you express gratitude to people when they help you, you say thank you, that kind of thing. That goes a long way in your subconscious. So what happens when you start expressing generosity, kindness, compassion, love, and gratitude? You start to feel better. You start to take pride in yourself. You start to love yourself. Why? Because it's going in your subconscious. Okay? When you're generous with others, you're being generous to yourself. Okay, when you take away from others, you're taking away from yourself. You don't know it. You don't realize it. But it's all in your subconscious. When you're hating on someone else, you're hating on yourself through your subconscious. And then you wonder why you don't have any confidence. Then you wonder why you don't feel good about yourself. Then you wonder why you can't look at yourself in the mirror. That kind of thing. Okay, that's what the Bible is talking about when it says, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Because when you don't do that, okay, when you're mean to others, when you lash out at others, all of that, it affects you through your subconscious. And then it affects your feelings. The Indian philosopher Shanakwa said, your feelings are your God. And what that means is when you project positive emotions, you get back positive emotions from people. You attract positive people. Like attracts like. Like energy attracts like energy all day long. So you start attracting good people. Why? Because you are being good. If you're being dark, you're going to attract dark people. Like attracts like. So I'm not saying being dark is wrong. I'm just saying it is what it is. Either way, you decide. You be how you want, right? But if you're tired of dark, if you're tired of negativity, if you're tired of bad, just know that this is the 50 percentile right here. This is positive. This is yeah, let's call this positive and this negative, okay? So like if you want a life that's the majority of your life is positive, like things turn around, like you can turn around your whole life by just doing this. Go 1% over the line. 1% over the line. Now you have 51% positive, 49% negative. That's how simple it is. Okay, and that 1% can become a habit in your subconscious. Just that 1%. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need to try to be perfect. You don't. We're human beings, right? I'm not perfect. Here, guilty, right here. I'm not perfect. Okay, but you don't need to do something unrealistic like go over here and okay, now I'm 90% positive. Like that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Okay, don't be that ambitious. You go back over here. So 50, right? Go 51%. Go 52%. Go 53%. That's all you need. And then the majority of your life will be easier. The majority of your life will be positive because it'll outnumber the negative part. Okay? Generosity, kindness, compassion, love, and gratitude. When you practice these things, it goes into your subconscious. You become what you practice. Human beings become what they practice. You practice archery, guess what? You're going to be good at archery. You practice singing, you're going to be a good singer. You practice guitar, you're going to be a good guitar player. It all depends on what you're interested in. But human beings become what they practice all day long. Practice, repetition. Okay, when you repeat something, it goes in your subconscious. Your subconscious memorizes it and it feeds it back to you. And pretty soon, you're doing it automatic. Pretty soon, you pick up the guitar automatic. You want to practice automatic. Why? Because you enjoy it. Why do you enjoy it? Because you keep doing it, right? So you get to like it. The first few times, it's awkward. When you start anything in life, it's awkward. Anything brand new is awkward. But then you start to do it a few times, right? After a few times, it gets a little easier. Right? Then a little easier. Then pretty soon you're obsessed with it. Okay, now hopefully it's a good thing. Okay, hopefully it's a good thing and not anything bad. But I'm just saying that that's how habits start. That's how good habits start. You try it a little bit, it's awkward. Try a little bit more, it's awkward. Yeah, but I really want to learn how to play the guitar. Okay, try a little bit more, still awkward. A little bit more, that's getting easier. Yeah, it's okay. And then pretty soon, oh wow, hey, I like this. I'm getting good at it, right? Okay, and then they continue. And then what? And then you're really good at it. And then you love it. Okay? Remember, generosity, kindness, compassion, love, and gratitude. Okay? When you do that, you start manifesting things really quick. You start achieving your goals really quick. Why? Because you're putting these 5 principles into your subconscious. Your subconscious is memorizing generosity, it's memorizing kindness, it's memorizing compassion, it's memorizing love and gratitude, and it's repeating it to you. It's feeding it back to you in repetition. Now, not only are you giving generosity, you're receiving it. You're not just giving kindness, you're receiving it. You're not just being compassionate, people are being compassionate with you. And you're being compassionate with yourself. Okay? And the same with love and gratitude. So if you do these things, everything in your life will be easier. Okay? Try it. It works. Okay, so we have to, Jay is over there saying see you tomorrow. Thank you, Jay. I know you're working. I know you're busy over there. But yeah, so tomorrow morning, same time, 7 a.m. for my community service right here. If you want the website, I'm not here to sell you anything, by the way. But if you want the website, it's hereforyoulifecoaching.com. Check it out. If you have problems, you need some advice or whatever, it's junior@hereforyoulifecoaching.com. I'd be happy to help. No worries. So till tomorrow.